Okay, we're going to go over the review handout for evaluating. So the first problem we have is 2 squared. Okay, so a lot of things are going on here. So we're looking at those grouping symbols. So we have some parentheses inside, so we're going to do one step at a time. We're going to do 2. We can do that 5 squared, which gives us 25, plus inside those parentheses are 36 divided by 6, which would give us 6. Okay. All right, and now we're going to work inside those brackets. So now we have 2, and inside there is 31. So that really means 2 times 31, which gives us 62. Okay. Problem number 2. Parentheses, the square root of 36 plus 4 divided by 2 minus 7. So we're going to go inside parentheses. So inside parentheses, I see a square root. So the square root of 36 is 6 plus 4. Rewrite the problem. Now the next thing we see is inside parentheses. We see division and we see subtraction. So parentheses would be first. So 6 and 4 is 10. Divided by 2 minus 7. Again, according to PEMDAS, 10 divided by 2 is 5. Minus 7 gives us a negative 2. Problem number 3. All right, for absolute value of m minus n, and then we have m equals 6 and n equals negative, n equals 8, not a negative 8. All right, so let's substitute in first. For absolute value, 6 minus 8. So 4 inside those absolute values, 6 minus 8 gives me a negative 2. And remember, absolute value is how far away from 0 is that number. That number is 2 spaces away. And now we get 8. Number 4. 3 parentheses x minus 2 plus 9y. X is going to equal 2 and y equals 1. So we're going to say 3 times 2 minus 2 plus 9 times 1. So inside parentheses first, right here, so it's 3 times 0 plus, now we're going to multiply. 3 times 0 equals 0 plus 9 equals 9. Number 5. It says simplify the following. So we have square root 9 plus 6, 16. Outside is minus 8 minus 3 squared. So I'm going to do underneath the radical symbol. 9 and 16 gives you 25 minus 8 minus 9. Now the square root of 25 is 5, minus 8 minus 9 is negative 1. So this says a negative times a negative gives me the positive, and that gives you 6. Problem number 6. So the problem says GH plus F to the third. Okay? So F is 10, G is 4, and H is 9. So the square root of 4 times, let me fix that. I'm going to substitute in 4, and I'm going to substitute in 9, plus I'm going to substitute in 10, and let's not forget that exponent because I forgot that earlier. So 9 times 4 is 36, plus 10 to the third power is 1,000. Square root of 36 is 6 plus 1,000 gives you 1,006. That was problem number 6. Let's go on to number 7. Number 7, we have 8 x plus y minus 2 plus xy. All right, so let's see. X equals 4, y equals negative 2. 8, x is 4 plus negative 2 minus 2 plus 4 times negative 2. So bring down the 8. Inside the parentheses, 4 plus a negative 2 gives you 2. Minus 2 plus 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. I'm going to fix that in a minute. Right here I could have said negative 8 instead of putting the plus and the minus, but that's okay. Alright, so now I'm going to say 8. Ooh, that's 8 times 2. 8 times 2 is 16. Minus 2. And this is a positive times a negative, gives us minus 8. 16 minus 2 is 14. Minus 8 is 6. Number 8. We have negative 8.5, the absolute value of it, plus 2s minus the square root of t squared plus p. S is going to be 1/2. T is 7. And p is negative 7. So let's substitute in first. Negative 8.5 plus 2 times 1/2 minus the square root 7 squared plus negative 7. All right, so let's do the absolute value of negative 8.5. So that's 8.5, it's positive, plus 2 times 1/2. I want to do that over here. If I take 2 and I multiply it times 1/2, I'm going to change that to 2 over 1. It's still 2. Rule of fractions, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator equals 1. Another way to look at this is 2, when the numerator is 1, you can divide it in half. So plus 1. Let me put that back to black or blue. Plus 1 minus square root of 7 squared is 49 minus 7, because a positive times a negative is a negative. So now we have 8.5 plus 1 minus square root of 49 is 7 minus 7. So you put 8.5 plus 1 minus 7 gives you negative 4.5. That was number 8. Now we're on number 9. Number 9. 1/2 times x to the third minus 4 y squared plus 2 all over z. So let's see. X equals 4, y equals 5, and z equals negative 3. So we're going to take 1/2 4 cubed, or to the third power, minus 4, times 5 squared plus 2, all over absolute value of negative 3. Wow. Okay, let's do inside parentheses first. So we have 1/2 times 4 cubed is 64 minus 4 times 5 squared is 25 plus 2. And we're going to say that's 3 because the absolute value of that is that. Okay? Let's extend this page. All right, so inside parentheses again, so we have 1/2. 64 minus 4 is 60. And 25 plus 2 is 27. And all of that is going to be divided by 3. So we're going to multiply these right here. So we'll say 1/2. And when I multiply 60 times 27, I get 1620. And remember what I said here. I can take that 1/2 times 1620, which means 1 times 1620 gives me 1620. 2 times 1 is 2. And when you divide that, you get 810. So in the numerator, so 1/2 times that is 810 divided by 3. And if you look at this, you can say 16 divided by 2. And where's my answer? So 270. So 810 divided by 3 is 270. Number 10. 6a squared minus 2b times 11 plus 5. A is going to be negative 2. B is negative 5. Oh. Okay, so let's substitute in. 6 times negative 2 squared minus 2 times negative 5 times 11 plus 5. So it's going to be 6 times a positive 4. Negative 2 times a negative 5 is 10 times square root of 16. So 6 times 4 is 24 plus 10 times square root of 16 is 4. I have multiplication and addition, so I'm going to say 24 plus 10 times 4 is 40, and that gives you 64. Number 11, it's AB plus 6B, A to the 0. A is 4, and B is 1/2. So we're going to say 4 times 1/2 plus 6 times 1/2. And that's going to be 4 to the 0 power. So 4 times 1/2 is 2, plus 6 times 1/2 is 3. Anything to the 0 power equals 1. 2 plus 3 is 5, divided by 1 equals 5. Last one, number 12. Negative 5x plus 2y minus 6z divided by the square root of 5 times 5. X equals negative 6, y equals 4, and z equals negative 2. Let's substitute in. Negative 5 times negative 6 plus 2 times 4 minus 6 times negative 2. All over square root of 25. So this gives me a negative 5 times a negative 6 is 30. A positive 2 times a positive 4 is 8. A negative 6 times a negative 2 is 12. And the square root of 25 is 5. When I add the whole numerator, I have to put it over here, I'm sorry. It's 50 divided by 5 equals 10. Okay, so that was the video for evaluating. I'm going to video the other answers to the other handouts, and I'll post it separately since this is like 13 minutes.